The O's take on the Blue Jays, 7:07 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Toronto Blue Jays are -1.5, totals 10, juice to the under. And if you like Baltimore in an upset on the road here, they're plus 210 for some money line cash. Now they're also -1.15, catching the 1.5 on the run line. Matt Harvey starting for Baltimore, Steven Matz for Toronto. Now we're hitting at 70% in our last 11 extra daily picks on my BrockPage.com website. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We're also 12-2 in our last 14 Major League Baseball tier package picks on that very same website. And the good news is we have another Major League Baseball tier package pick going off here this afternoon. We finished the month of August with over 875 members who were signed up and active on that BrockPage.com website. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my webpage. Once again, that site is BrockPage.com. Now, Steven Matz is 10-7 on the year for Toronto, 3.81 ERA, 111 strikeouts. Blue Jays won 3 out of their last 4 ball games. They're in the top 10 in fewest hits allowed per 9. Meanwhile, offensively, this Toronto lineup is amongst the league leaders in hits per game. Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s hit 39 home runs and knocked in 96. The Sluggers also got an OPS of 1.008. Needless to say, Vlad's in the top 3 in the majors in home runs, RBI, and OPS. Meanwhile, Marcus Semien hit 32 home runs and knocked in 77. The Toronto lineup is in the top 5 in the majors in home scoring. They're taking on a last-place Baltimore club, who has the worst record in Major League they have the worst record in Major League Baseball. This Baltimore pitching staff allows more runs per contest than any other team in the league. Matt Harvey's just 6-14 with a 6.18 ERA and a 1.51 WHIP. When it comes to the total in this one, Toronto went 8-2 to the under in their last 10 ball games, 5-2 to the under in their last 7 at home. Meanwhile, the Orioles are 32-28 to the under against the American League on the road. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Blue Jays -1.5 and the under 10 runs. Next matchup, Yankees, Angels, 7:07 Eastern Standard Time. New York's -1.5, numbers 8 and a hook. Garrett Cole for the Yankees, Packy Naughton for Los Angeles. The Angels are on a 3-game winning streak with 2 of those victories coming against New York. This Angels club still has a winning home record, and they're in the top 10 in the majors in home scoring. Shohei Ohtani's hit a league-leading 42 home runs, 90 RBI, and a 987 OPS for the All-Star. Meanwhile, Jared Walsh has hit 25 home runs and knocked in 79 himself. This Angels lineup is in the top 5 in hits on average per game. They're taking on a Yankees squad who's on a 4-game losing streak, and they rank in the bottom 10 in hits on average per contest. This New York lineup also strikes out over 9.4 times a game when they travel. When it comes to the total in this one, 7 out of New York's last 10 ball games got over the number. Meanwhile, the Angels went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves, 3-1 to the over in their last 4 at home. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels +1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next contest, Red Sox, Rays, 7:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay's -1.15, totals 7.5. Drew Rasmussen for the Rays, Chris Sale for Boston. But despite a few really good outings out of Sale, he still only has 15 1/3 innings of work under his belt this season. The Bo Sox are on a 3-game losing streak. They also have a losing road record against American League opponents. They're taking on a first-place Tampa club who wins 70% of their divisional home games. The Tampa Bay lineup is also leading the majors in scoring on average per game. Brandon Lowe's hit 31 home runs and knocked in 78. The second baseman's actually 8th in the big leagues in that home run category. Meanwhile, Austin Meadows is 5th in the majors with 93 RBI. When it comes to the pitching in this one, the Rays are leading the majors in fewest runs allowed per contest on their home field. Drew Rasmussen comes into today's contest with a 3.09 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. When it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Tampa's last 5 contests at the Trop got over the number. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have gone 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Tampa Bay Rays minus $1.15 and the over 7.5. Next ball game, Pirates, White Sox, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Chicago White Sox are minus 350, totals 8.5. Carlos Rodon for Chicago. Max Kranick for Pittsburgh. Now Kranick's got a 7.20 ERA and a 1.70 WHIP. The last place Pirates have the second fewest wins in the National League. They also score fewer runs per contest than any other team in the majors. They're taking on a first place Chicago club who wins over 66% of their home games. This White Sox lineup is in the top 5 in scoring, and they're led by Jose Abreu, who's got a league-leading 102 RBI on the season. Now, the first baseman's also hit 28 home runs, which is in the top 20 in baseball as well. When it comes to the pitching in this one, this Chicago staff is striking out over double-digit batters a game at home. Carlos Rodon is 10-5 with a 2.43 ERA and a .97 WHIP. The lefties also fanned 163 batters. Chicago went 60% to the under in their last 10. Pittsburgh saw 7 out of their last 10 stay under the line themselves. Give me the Chicago White Sox minus 1.5 and the under 8.5. Next game, Indians, Royals, 8:10 East. Kansas City's minus 130, numbers 9. Jackson Cower for the Royals, Logan Allen for Cleveland. The Indians are on a 2-game winning streak, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. This Cleveland lineup is in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts at the plate offensively. Jose Ramirez has hit 31 homers and knocked in 84. The third baseman's actually 8th in the majors in that home run category. He's also in the top 20 in both RBI and OPS. Meanwhile, Franmil Reyes has hit 24 home runs and knocked in 65 runners. They're taking on a Royals club who lost their last 2 straight, and they also dropped 4 out of their last 7. Kansas City's currently 13 games below 500, and they're in the bottom 10 in scoring. Jackson Cower's on the hill here this evening. He's 0-2 in just 5 innings of work with the Royals. This Kansas City pitching staff is also in the bottom 5 in hits allowed per game at home. And when it comes to the number in this one, Kansas City's 34-30 to the over at Kauffman Stadium. They also went 6-4 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Cleveland. Meanwhile, the Indians are 62% to the over in their divisional contest this year themselves. Give me the Cleveland Indians plus 1.5 and the over 9 runs. Next battle, Cubs, Twins, 8:10 p.m. East. The Minnesota Twins are minus 185, totals 9. Joe Ryan for Minnesota, Justin Steele for Chicago. Steele's got a couple of wins through just 26 innings of work. The lefty also struck out 32 batters during that time frame. Chicago's won 4 out of their last 7 ball games, and that includes a 3-1 victory over Minnesota just yesterday. They're taking on a last-place Minnesota club who's 16 games below 500. And they also find themselves amongst the worst in the league in runs allowed per contest. Joe Ryan's making his debut for the Twins here this evening. This Minnesota pitching staff is in the bottom 5 in the league in hits allowed per contest. They just haven't been very good. When it comes to the total on this one, Minnesota went 60% to the over in their last 10. The Twins are officially 82-50 to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Cubs went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings themselves. Give me the Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 and the over 9. Next contest, Brewers, Giants, 9:45 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco's minus 175, total 7.5. Kevin Gausman for San Francisco. Brett Anderson for Milwaukee. The first place Brewers are on a 3-game winning streak, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. Milwaukee also plays their best baseball on the road, and they're currently leading the majors in fewest road runs allowed. This Milwaukee pitching staff fans nearly 11 batters a game, and they hold their opponents to less than 3.4 runs per contest when they travel. They're taking on a Giants club who's on a 3-game losing streak themselves, with 2 of those losses coming against Milwaukee. As a matter of fact, the Giants have mustered up only 3 total runs combined in that 3-game skid. These Giants hitters are in the bottom 10 in the majors in striking out at the plate. When it comes to the total in this one, 7 out of the Giants' last 10 ball games stayed under the line. Milwaukee's 4-1 to the under in their last 5 on the road themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Milwaukee Brewers plus 1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. Of that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Braves versus the Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The LA Dodgers are minus 210, total 7.5. Max Scherzer for Los Angeles. Max Fried for Atlanta. Fried's 11-7 with a 3.54 ERA and a 1.20 WHIP. Fried's also struck out 122 batters, which is problematic for the Dodgers because LA's in the bottom half of the league in strikeouts at the plate. Now, Atlanta actually plays their best baseball on the road. They allow only 3.7 runs a game when they travel. They're taking on a Dodger club who failed to cash in on the run line in 5 out of their last 7 home games. As a matter of fact, LA's just 25-33 against the number in their contests at Dodger Stadium for the entire season. And as good as they've been offensively, Los Angeles is in the bottom 10 in the league in home hits on average per game. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, 9 out of LA's last 10 ball games stayed under the line, 6-1 to the under in their last 7 at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, the Braves went 90% to the under in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves plus 1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. Of that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com. where we are hitting at 70% in our last 11 extra daily picks on that very same webpage. I like Toronto minus 1.5 under 10. LA Angels plus 1.5 over 8.5. Tampa Bay minus $1.15 over 7.5 runs. Chicago White Sox minus 1.5 under 8.5. Cleveland plus 1.5 over 9. Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 over 9 runs. Milwaukee plus 1.5 under 7.5. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 70% in our last 11 extra daily picks on my brockpage.com website. We're also 12-2 in our last 14 Major League Baseball tier package picks on that very same webpage. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves plus 1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. Of that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that goes to Zach C., who said earlier today, I just signed up per your advice to wait to the first. Let's go. Need me some Major League Baseball, college football, and NFL monies. And I'll tell you what, Zach, I certainly appreciate you signing up on my brockpage.com website. I think we're going to have a great time. And I personally want to thank you for taking the time to drop me a line in the comments section below. And best of luck to you, Zach. We're going to try to make some money here this fall. Now, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com, just like Zach did. It's the first of the month, guys. And I always tell people the earlier in the month you sign up, the better, because I use the Patreon platform for that website. And Patreon bills you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do sign up today on the first, you're getting your absolute best max value. So once again, Patreon bills you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Best of luck to you. And happy hump day to you as well. The weekend's right around the corner. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.